No, but I sell them at my store in Toledo.
What's
hey
going
Tesla, you scared
on
the crap out of
here?
me. Holy shit.
Hello.
Were you behind me the whole time?
Hello.
I was over
She
by
works
the
here.
Benny's.
Oh, okay.
Also,
My bad.
yeah, this is my department.
Well, I know this is your department, you work here. Just, you scared me. I didn't realize you were there.
Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I meant to nod. This is her department. She's my game warden.
Well, then she is. Well,
What you
a lot
guys
of people.
doing?
Winston and I are going to go have a chat about a couple things.
Oh.
Official policey matters and whatnot.
I still think he's
Wow.
secretly trying to recruit me.
No, we've got a long list of potential recruits. There's this
Yeah.
one old guy that I particularly like, but he ain't been with the department for very long.
Oh, old people suck, though. TJ's an old man? No, he's not.
All right. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. I can't see that. I'm trying to turn this little recording thing on this computer, but this fucking technology.
I will agree that the recording is happening. There you go. I've been notified.
All right, perfect. All right. It is September 20th, Jesus, 2023, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard. Badge number 251, Ranger Sergeant Jeffrey Bundy. In the room with me today, I have got, read yourself into the record, including state ID.
State ID 22673. My name is Winston Walker.
Okay. All right, Winston. And up until recently, you were a CO with the Department of Corrections. Is that right?
Yes, until Harvey ordered my firing.
Harvey. Okay. Jesus. Before we push into that, I'm going to notify you of your Miranda rights just in case anything comes up
during
this
this my Miranda
conversation.
rights.
Would be okay. All right. If you're acknowledging that you know your rights, I mean, you read them to people for however many years.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty good precedent that I know them already.
Yeah. Well, there's also a precedent that anybody who comes in here voluntarily ain't got to read them to, but I still like to do it anyway.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Okay. Is your termination a matter of ongoing like litigation or anything? Any appeals or civil cases or anything that are tied to that?
There is a civil case incoming, yes.
Okay.
But that's in discussion with my attorney.
Okay. And just for my personal knowledge, in case they contact me or I have to contact them, who is your attorney?
Grace Daniels, at least in this matter. I haven't really got her on retainer for everything. It was just on this matter.
Got you. Okay. So she's not your attorney comprehensively. She's just your attorney for whatever the fuck happened with DOC.
Yeah, or whatever the fuck happened with Harvey.
Okay. Is there anything you want to put on the record pertaining to that situation?
I already have, well, I guess it's already on record that I have requested some form of, not a legal restraining order, but a notice to the police, that specifically to the department that I believe has been run by Bison, HR department or complaints department, that Harvey has been harassing me. From even as far back as when I was in the PD. But now I don't have to entertain it because it's not my job.
True. Okay, so this is kind of a long-standing thing between you and Harvey. To your recollection, what was the first incident that this occurred? Like, what was the what's the genesis of this bad blood?
That's a good question. I don't know. He always just. I think I was the only person who actually listened to him and would give him his advice. And, he would keep asking, and keep pestering. I'm sure, on the way here, he did the exact same thing he used to do to me. Would just get in your car and start telling you things. Even if you're like, hey, I'm busy, I can't deal with that right now. But I always listened to him, always gave him the time of day, always gave him advice. Always watched him ignore my advice and do the complete opposite and then come to me all Pikachu face that it went wrong. I don't know where the bad blood came in. I was always kind of upfront and honest with him, but gave him his time. But apparently he doesn't like me, so he's been harassing me, or at least just hounding me. So I'm going through the proper legal manners.
Okay. Starting more recently, then, what are the recent incidences of him harassing you?
Well, I think the ordering my firing from DOC was an interesting one. DOC don't really take any. They said that they were just told they had to do it, and Harvey told them that, or told me specifically that he spoke to former commissioner, or the late commissioner, Axel Justice, and apparently they had a direct line between them, and he ordered my firing.
Hey, love, I'm in an interrogation. Can I talk to you soon? Sorry, interview, not interrogation. Jesus. Yep. Bye. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So DOC told you that Axel ordered your firing.
No, Harvey told me that. I went up to.
Okay.
So I got
you told. What did DOC tell you then?
Well, so the play-by-play was, I was at the prison. Matters that will, come up in the civil case occurred. And I was informed I was suspended. After that, I, went to bed. Went to sleep. I woke up in the morning and all my keys and everything had been removed, tags and so on. So I just presumed I had been fired without being warned. I'm used to that. That's happened a lot to me. So I went up to the prison the day after and I was like, hey, okay, what's going on? They had a smallish interview with me. We kind of had a nice conversation. I thank them for their time and, the working together. I like those guys. They're good people. They thanked me for their time. They didn't ask too many questions about what actually occurred because they knew that Harvey was going to press charges or might be pressing charges, although it's later been revealed that he won't be pressing charges. Whilst we were discussing specifically the charges thing, Harvey came out. He was off duty, to which he informed all three of us that actually he had ordered my firing. He had a direct line with the commissioner. He started berating me, telling me that I had fallen off, that he never wanted to be like me, that, he's a better detective, blah-de-blah-de-blah, blah-de-blah-de-blah. I definitely bit back, by the way. I liked to inform him that he was the downfall of the SDSO, and that when he joined, it all went to shit. In fact, I even distinctly remember Ben Casanova left SDSO because he joined because there was a unanimous vote to not let Harvey Holden into the SDSO, and Toretti hired him anyway.
Okay. And I remember you told me there have been incidents since then, but to kind of dig into the initial situation that led to your suspension, is there anything relating to that you're willing to or want to talk about?
At the time, I had no idea Harvey was involved until the conversation I just outlined.
Okay.
As for the, I mean, if you want the recording, I mean, it's already in official PD documentation because of the complaint, but he saw me dancing in what he described as a sexy manner whilst fully clothed on the side of the road with my friends. Vil threw, I think it was $100, just threw a chunk of money at me because it's Villager and he does things like that. To which Harvey Holden tried to argue that I was prostituting myself and tried to charge me for it. I said, take me to bench trial because I know that's not an adequate charge. So he claimed that didn't need to happen because it was only a warning. He then left, came back within 5 seconds, lights and sirens, walked up to me and he was like, well, actually, I'm going to charge you with, and then he saw that my meter had been paid. Yes, I'm one of the few people in the city who pays my parking meter. He saw it was paid and went, oh shit, I can't charge you with that. Left. Lights and sirens off. Lights and sirens back on. Came back round. Pulled up and he was like, actually, I'm going to charge you for double parking. And then realized that I was within the lines. So left a third time. At this point, God, who was it? It was Turo. Ethan Turo came over. Started hanging around with us, talking to us, being friendly as well. He was on duty, and he himself also observed Harvey Holden just circling round and round, trying to look for anything he could do to get me arrested. I was hoping I'd turn around just to see him standing there.
Okay. And you and I talked about this previously when I was off duty at Harmony. You said you've already reported all of this to Bison, right?
Yeah, I put in a official report through the form he sent me.
Okay. Perfect. Are there any other incidents that come to mind pertaining to Deputy Holden?
He keeps trying to imitate my bear. He harasses Hayes, Mackenzie Hayes, now Corporal Mackenzie Hayes of the PBSO, harassing her in an attempt to get her to say bad things about me because he knows we're friends. So he wants to try and win her over to his side. I'm sure he's probably done the same to you, Bundy, but yeah, he's essentially trying to turn people against me. Not working, by the way. Hayes is mostly annoyed that Harvey's talking to him. Just flat out.
Yeah, I was going to say the relationship between Hayes and Holden has always been kind of like I don't know, like an average human being and a fly that has somehow found its way inside of their abode.
You just call Hayes an average human being? She's stupendous.
Yeah, well, no, she's stupendous, but whenever she's approached by Harvey, she starts swatting at him like a fly and trying to get him to go out the window.
Yeah, it's very accurate. That's true.
Okay, all right, so Department of Correction wise, no ill will towards any of them in particular pertaining to your firing or anything like that?
No, they're good people. I like them. I mean, that I was DOC for 3 months, and then Sanguines came in for about a week, maybe a little longer. I'd have to look at the dates, but I'm sure you could look that up if it's necessary. But I spent a lot of time kind of sat on a roof alone. Like that's what their job is. They're in this city solo. I have a lot of respect for them and what they do. It's also kind of rough because, I mean, I was a detective once looking into the prison, and PD, we're kind of harsher on DOC than we are even on our own officers. Well, but harsher on everyone than we are our own officers.
Yeah, I think you and I can both agree that depends on which officer it is, Winston.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
There are certainly certain circumstances where the Saxon Hardcastles and the Winston Walkers of the world may catch a little harsher treatment than, I don't know, the Brian Knights, for instance.
That's certainly accurate. I still think in both of those scenarios, civilians get it much harder than ever. But yeah, I've seen that since I left the PD. Hell, when I was in the PD, the amount of times I had people come to me and they'd complain about officers coming to them, basically yelling at them about how they were gonna, quote, pop their criminal cherry. Because they see people with a clean record as a target, as a challenge, not as a civilian.
Yeah, well, you were co-workers with some of these people, so does it genuinely surprise you that some people see that as an objective?
Yes and no. Yes, but no, because I kind of saw that attitude. And hell, sometimes I even prayed victim to it myself. That idea that everybody here commits crimes, so there's somebody who's clean. Well, immediately check to see if they have a warehouse. But yes, because, well, you would know this as a command member. Often we're in control of scenes, so if we see someone going too hard, we can tell them, you know, to back down. We can tell them to stop doing what they're doing and control it a little bit more. But on the other side, you don't get to see anybody trying to exert control. You just see the result, and it's a little messier than I ever thought it was from the inside.
Okay. What about the other police officers outside of Holden? Is there anybody who's harassed you or seen you as a target since you left the police department?
No, the majority of my friends are government workers. We all get along really well. I was hanging out with Hayes on Monday. Speak to Kiki all the time. Take ride-alongs with Kiki, Hayes. Speak to Anita, Minerva. I see Bobby. A lot of people at autos. Yeah, good relationship. Well, hell, I'd even try and hang out with you if our time zones aligned more.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's rarely the case. At least not for more than an hour or two.
Yeah, I mean, it's already nearly 1:30, 2 a.m. for me.
Okay. Let me look over my records here. All right. What was the day that you were terminated from Bolingbrook? Do you remember?
I don't. I can look through my records if you like. I had
yeah, it might be helpful.
I had an email where I messaged them to ask if I'd been fired. Let me have a look. So I sent an email to Bowman on the 5th, asking, I presume I've been fired because all my tags have been removed, and he said we can handle this by talking at the prison. That was on the 5th, so I believe it would have been the 4th of September.
Okay. All right. Okay. So it's been a pretty significant period of time, about a little over 2 weeks at this point. 1 day past 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah, about that.
When we were on our way here, you said you dumped your bike in the water.
Well, not intentionally. Driving around the mountains and fell. I'm lucky to survive, honestly. I think I was on the phone to Dahlia when it happened. Screaming where I was, like, help! But I managed to make
Fair
it,
enough.
and then you know what it's like on Cassidy Trail. You're stuck on one side, and you're like, can I ramp it over the river? And the answer is always no.
Is your bike the only vehicle that you've got that you can really drive around?
It's the only one I ever really drive around. I do have the G-Wagon, the Uber. That is, give me an odd way to explain this. It belongs to Boris. It's Boris the Bear's car. It's in my name because he's a bear. He bought it with money that he earned from selling the bear plushies. So
Yeah, we're also coming up on winter, so it's like, yeah, he seems to be going in and out of hibernation a lot. Probably easier to have you pay the asset fees.
exactly. And I refuse to use it unless he's around because that's essentially his car. I might use it in a pinch, but most of the time, I mean, for 5 months when I couldn't afford my asset fees after my firing from PD, I just run around anyway. There's short distances, I mostly just run.
Okay. So you dumped your bike, wound up at the rental spot, grabbed what is that, a Tampa?
Buccaneer, I think. There's a decent
Buccaneer,
ones,
okay.
yeah.
Got you. Yeah,
Waiting
actually,
for it.
I used to rent those before I got my motorcycle way back in the day. Pretty decent car. Is that your car of choice when you go to rent cars?
That and Enos. Got it. I know he knows I've rented it.
Really, the Enos? Why?
It's an alright one. It's cheap. I don't like the Bison.
Okay.
I feel like if I drive the Bison, everybody just thinks I'm a grind. I heard this thing the other day where somebody was like, hey, if you really want to save money, rent a Bison, drive it until you run out of gas, and then just rent a new Bison because it's cheaper than refueling. And I hate that idea.
Buccaneer's not too much different, is it? Those are what, 750, 800 to rent?
Yeah, it's actually okay. I'll be honest. It's nicer to drive up north because it goes a little faster. So anything
What
out of
about
the city, and nice to grab a Buccaneer and go up the freeways.
What about the Enos? Aren't those a little more expensive? How much do those run?
It's like 1,000, I think. There's not too much difference between them.
Okay. So those are only, so the Buccaneer's like 758, and then it's a couple $100 extra, just like $200, $300 extra to get an Enos instead, which I don't know why. Is it just fancier?
Yeah, I like to change it up, I guess. I don't really know why I do most of the things I do.
I mean, variety is the spice of life.
Exactly.
All I smell is
All
a bath
right.
bomb. How did you find out from a
All
bath
right. So
bomb?
there's one day in
Good.
particular
Thank you so
that
much
I
for
do
7
need to
months.
talk to you about.
Okay.
September 17th. That's gonna be 3 days ago.
3 days ago. Okay.
I guess depending on what the watch on your wrist is set to, 16th leading into the 17th.
Okay. So it's kind of. I'm getting close to thinking it's the 21st. So I imagine it's still 3 days, regardless. Just
Yeah.
17.
I'll
Okay.
would it help if I put a pin on that day to help you remember what it was, to kind of jog your memory a bit?
Sure.
That was the day you called me to have your class 2 weapons license removed.
Oh yeah. No, I remember. Yeah.
Okay. Could you walk me through that day? Kind of what you did that day?
Not particularly. I think most of my days are blurred into one. I do some Marex lessons here. Maybe go work at Uwu, go work at Harmony. I honestly have no idea. Anything in my tax records?
Well, I mean, we can start. Let's start with the phone call. So you called me. I can tell you where I was. I was on Cassidy Trail. Where were you when you called me?
Probably in the city somewhere. I genuinely don't know. Wonder you know me. My memory's terrible at these things. I don't write as much down anymore because, well, I've got no need to.
Okay. Do you recall what you did after you called me?
I think I mostly would have just been driving my bike around until inevitably crashed it.
Do you recall crashing your bike that day?
I mean, I crash my bike most days, but
Or is that just like a general you crash your bike a lot sort of thing?
it's kind of a general thing. I crash my bike a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, was that the day that? Wait, do I text Grace that day? Oh yeah, I did text Grace that day. I think I don't know about timings, but I do know I crashed my bike like near the MRPD area. Like, let me see. I don't know the exact road. Maybe it was like Sinner Street, Adam's Apple, or the Fantastic Place, that kind of down there near where that little ramp is. Messing around, doing little jumps on, once the little ramps here or there, and hitting curbs. I think I crashed and disabled my bike there and didn't have a toolkit.
Okay. Did you call somebody for a pickup?
No, I just ran to rental.
Okay. What kind of rental did you get?
Good question. I actually don't remember. I think I got an Enos.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be a Buccaneer kind of day if you're looking to hit little jumps and go fast and stuff.
Well, only if I was going up north. But I mostly just wanted to go get a repair kit. So I drove it to Alta Street and went to go get a repair kit, and then when I came back, it was gone.
The bike was gone or the Enos was gone?
The Enos.
You keep your repair kits at your Alta Street apartment?
I sometimes have one in there, cause well, I'll keep one on me, and then usually I'll use that until it fucking breaks. So it's usually good to keep one in either Alta or my home. Just keep one lying around.
I was gonna say, don't you still own that place that you and Boris and Gotcha live at?
Yeah, I have that place still.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. Okay, so bike crashes near MRPD. You rent a 4-seater to go get. Yeah, you just drove it like a block, basically, block and a half over to Alta Street.
Yep.
You go into your apartment, you come out, and your rental's gone.
Yeah, well, I was going to drive it back, but I mean, figured it was gone. Might as well just run then.
Okay, so then you run from Alta to back to where your bike is on like Center Vespucci. Is that what you said?
Yeah, somewhere around. I don't remember the exact location. It was around there somewhere.
Okay. Okay, so you get your bike back, and what do you do after that?
I think I just went back to driving around.
Okay, just hitting sick jumps and whatnot.
I wouldn't say sick jumps, but it's kind of aimlessly driving around. I do the same at AirX,
mean, they were-
when I'm waiting for.
I mean, they were sick enough to break your damn bike, Winston.
No, I'm just not a very good driver. Okay.
Okay.
I do the same in AirX when I'm waiting for what's it called, clients, the lessons. Just drive around AirX and hit the little. I don't even know what those are. They're like the red and white little ramp things. I think that's maybe if a plane comes in hot and crashes, there to stop them going everywhere. I actually had to get EMS to come save me the other day because I crashed into the fence.
About how long would you say you were just kind of aimlessly driving about before you crashed your bike? If you had to put a stamp on it, and
Oh, I have no idea. Wait, which time?
before you crashed it.
Again, which crash?
The Alta Street Center. I'm gonna go get a repair kit one.
Oh fuck, I have no idea. Could have been hours. Could have been like half an hour. I genuinely don't know.
Okay, so run from Alta down to Vespucci. It's a pretty healthy little jog, 3, 4 blocks, something like that. And repair bike, go back to hitting semi-sick jumps out of boredom. Anything else of note that night? You hang out with anybody? Go work at any of your employment? Anything like that?
Not that late in the night. No, usually around like from this hour onwards. I don't really go do work because I'm usually too tired. Like if I was to go sit in Uwu and people talk to me, I'd just be like, oh, just take your damn food and leave me be. I definitely don't do any lessons, AirX lessons at this time. I only ever do AirX at like slightly before storm and slightly afterwards. Same with the Wu Chang. I'm employed with Wu Chang for security. It's a very solo job. I stand there with a suit and slowly earn money, and nobody really comes in and nobody talks to me. And might as well go back to working. Well, it's the same as working DOC, but I get better money. But yeah, so I don't really like doing that one. Harmony, I work at occasionally. Well, you saw me working there the other day. Again, I don't like to do jobs too late because I'm kind of tired.
Okay. But didn't spend time with, didn't hang out with any friends or anything like that? Didn't hit up Hayes? Didn't hit up anybody? Or, I don't know, just relax? You just kind of flew around solo for a little while and then decided to call it a night and tuck in?
Yeah, yeah. Drive around, see if I see anybody I know. If I don't, then go to bed.
Okay. Well, that is interesting.
Is it?
Yeah, I bet. What's your relationship with Kelly Dean?
Oh, he was my client for the AirX. Taught him how to fly a helicopter.
Did you provide him flight lessons that evening?
Maybe? I would have to check. I'm, again, terrible at remembering stuff.
Okay.
Let me have a look. If I can have a AirX. There's a documentation. Certifications. No, so I just finished heli with him the day before. He wants to get fixed wing, but well, the price is a bit much. We just changed our prices. It's, well, with felonies, it's like 30k per lesson for heli. Can't remember how much it is for plane. 32k per lesson.
And just after finishing his heli, that was a little too steep for Kelly's blood.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of people see use in. I mean, I can't think of any use of fixed wing. A lot of people just get fixed wing because they can, and then there's very few people like myself and Sam Veragmo. He's another one of my clients, students. Getting it because we wanted to go work over at what's it called, Hero Wine.
Oh yeah, I've vaguely remember that place.
Yeah, they need crop dust. The planes, like the shitty planes. You need to fly those and ferment the plants, I guess, with fertilizer. It's not how fermentation works, but you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, close enough. Okay. You mentioned that you were DOC for about 3 weeks, and then all the Sanguinians or the Sangoons or whatever you want to call them came through and overpopulated the prison. Some might say.
Pretty
What
accurate.
was your relationship with those individuals like? They give you a hard time?
No, because most of them knew me already from being a cop. They had a decent amount of respect for me. This is actually decent number of the DOC had good relation. Well, from what I gather, pretty much anybody who had a decent relationship with them got removed without any real question. I did get stabbed. That was pleasant. Forehead stabbed me. I mean, it was kind of more of a. When you know what it's like as a police officer, right?
That's more of a forehead thing and less of a Sanguinian thing, I would imagine.
Well, I think the Sanguinians were going after one of the other DOC. So then it just turned into stabbing everybody. But like as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I had respect with them from my time as PD, like you do, right? You know, there's people out there. They know that you're an officer. They're not going to trust you because you're an officer, but they got respect for you because they know that how you work and that you're fair and just and all that jazz. Kind of same thing. I had respect from them because of my time as a cop.
Yeah. What about the ringleaders? I know Terrence is kind of a mouthpiece up there. You get along well with Terrence?
I mean, always had a fairly reasonable discussion with him all the way back. Like, I don't know, since like Michael Simone days. I know you and him don't have a great relationship, but I mean, I've had conversations with him.
Yeah, that's because he kidnapped my wife and slit her wrists and then set a bomb on her. So
Yeah, I didn't want to be the one
and
to
then
put that on
and
record.
then and then he got all surprised Pikachu face when we couldn't bring it to court because it involved an actual god of death. How am I going to use that for a motive?
Yeah. I see Shelley always complaining on Twitter about the PD not in there. I mean, as soon as Norman got involved, it all kind of turns to shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, what am I going to do? Call Norman Bones as a fucking witness in court? That ain't going to work.
Yeah, no, it did.
I thought about it for the Balto trial. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I did. I tried. I didn't even try explaining it to Shelley, but I've actually seen her rag on me for being corrupt because I didn't bring her trial of Sam Bass trying to sacrifice her to Norman Bones to trial, and because that would actually mean I would have to bring Norman Bones in as a witness.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
I have got to say, based on the information that I have available, Winston, I don't think surprised is the right word. Somewhere between surprised and disappointed. Disappointed?
Why?
Because I expected it to take longer than 2 weeks.
For what?
You're not being fully honest with me about what transpired on the 17th, are you, Winston?
Bundy, my biggest flaw throughout my whole life is I'm too fucking honest.
Hmm.
I mean, that's why we had the whole deal with you, Tessa, and me about the shooting of the rat on that Frenchman's shoulder, right?
Yeah, but even then, there were little bits and bobs that got a little twisted every now and then. You were overall very honest, but you were also a little on the defensive side.
Well, I mean, I know how this works. You're reading me my Miranda rights. That's usually a red flag, so I'll be a little defensive. But I also know that the honesty,
I read those
wins.
to every. Yeah, I read those to every person of interest, witness, so on and so forth, because you've been in this line of work. You never know when somebody's going to you're interviewing them because they were the witness to a crime, and then suddenly they admit to shooting someone in the back or something. So
Yeah, no, I get you.
Your case is a little different though, and I think I lean more towards the disappointed because you don't even realize. Have you read the docket posting against Shay Flynn, Winston?
I can't say I have. I know it exists, but I haven't read it.
You you aware of the general context of that? I guess I should double check and see what's sealed and what's not sealed before I speak all openly about stuff. But
I know that some people, what is this, on LSBN ranting about unsealed. Is that the Shay Flynn thing? Oh no, the Fraser Kensington thing.
Yeah, that's Fraser Kensington, where the DOC cracked his skull open or what have you.
Yeah, no, I know. Some people are very angry about that.
Yeah, some things never change. You know, there was a story way back in the day of the DOC trying to do medical on somebody, and they hoovered his kidney out of him.
Do you remember the DOC doing medical on me after it sent me up to?
I do, yeah. You got was it you who got shocked like 16 times or something?
I think that's a little on the low side. I came out looking like a fucking grilled chicken. I'm the other white meat.
Let me see. Yeah, so most of it's been posted on LSBN. So Shay Flynn, now former EMS,
how's it
at the
going?
time current EMS.
He's going for the disappointed approach to see about crack.
Walks into the holding cells of Mission Row Police Department and plants a bomb.
So he's desperate.
And I'm just gonna say I haven't talked to Shay.
I don't think
But I can.
I've met them.
You probably haven't. They were basically never on duty, and even when they were shift 3, so they were kind of butting at the end of my shift and nowhere near yours. So
Yeah, I never would have seen them.
But I've never spoken to Shay. But if I had to guess, I would imagine that there's only 2 reasons somebody turns to doing something like that. Well, 3. The first is duress, pressure. Somebody's got a gun to your head or a gun to your child or your wife's head. A bomb strapped on your person that'll blow up if you don't do what they tell you to do, or some cure to a toxin that they've given you or something. Yeah, something putting you like under direct threat of your life or the life of your loved ones, right? That'll make people do crazy shit. Shit, you would probably blow up MRPD if Boris had a bomb on him, right?
That's a hell of an accusation.
I mean, shit, I'd do it if Kiki had. If the Sangoons had Kiki and they had a bomb strapped to her,
there was an actual instance of that happening when, well, they tried to hold me and Catcher up. I say they, it was Kira, Pred, and Wrangler. They tried to hold me up so, in Kyle Pred's own words, he could turn my son into a fucking rug. They were very determined to murder my son, and they were very determined to turn it into a rug, and then they were very determined that the best I could do is appeal it at a later date in court. And yes, I did hold them up at gunpoint. And then when they shot me and my son, I never fired back. In fact, I went in, I spoke to you, and then suspended myself for the actions and indiscretions that I had done. I held myself accountable for the actions and didn't go seeking revenge, because that's fucking dumb.
Okay. Well, option number 2 for a person that's in Shaflin's position is she feels wronged in some way. She's got something that something has tipped her over the edge. The system has failed her. I don't know, maybe a senator sent an EMS in with a bomb to a fucking holdout location. Not only something that is a war crime and morally comprehensible and all sorts of other things, but just fucking stupid. So maybe that's the justification. Maybe the system failed her, so fuck the system. Who knows? And then option number 3 is compatible with the second option, but not exclusive. It's to curry favor. If the system has fucked somebody over and they no longer want to be part of the system, then TJ and I's relationship started when he was a cop, but the current little TikTok squirrely bird bullshit that he's on. My relationship with that TJ started the day he got blooded out of the PD. Which is not a phrase that I use lightly, because we don't blood people out of the PD. We're not a fucking gang. But TJ is one of the few that I can say that certainly happened to. Because when you're a former police officer or a former EMS or a former DOC, you kind of got some proving to do. And TJ kidnapped Misa Price, who was one of my rookies that I trained pretty regularly. And we cleared her for solo, and she's out there patrolling around by herself. And Erwin Dundee kidnaps her, and he shoves her in the fucking trunk of a car. And they drive down to the Billy, and you know that little garage at the back of the Billy that like opens and closes at the back of Barry Benson's property?
Can't say I do. I think you've been down to the Billy more often than I have.
Yeah, I used to have keys down there. Well, there's this little garage that opens and closes back there. We stopped Erwin. We tried to negotiate with him. He drove around for a few minutes. And I was the fucking commanding officer that was attached to the vehicle. I should have made the call to just shoot him in the fucking head while he was driving, but I didn't make that call because I was scared the bullets would hit her in the trunk. So he drives down to the end, he backs the car up, and there stands TJ Walker, who that very same day had quit the police department. And TJ's holding a pistol. Erwin gets out, he's holding like an AK-74 or some shit. And then this monologue occurs about what needs to happen and things along those lines. And TJ pulled the trigger on that handgun he was holding. He only pulled it once, because I pulled mine 3 times immediately afterwards, and I put him down. So I am very fucking well aware of the fact that when you leave the establishment, sometimes you gotta pay a little bit of a price to kind of shift things around. So maybe Shay was paying a price. The irony is that Shay and I suspect the person who bombed the prison don't realize that they were being used. Because it's not about them. It's not about who they are. It's about who they were. That's the message. That's what Trojan and the Sanguinians and what's that other fucking guy's name? Fenrir? That's all that they really care about. Return to sender is the message. EMS crawls into a holdout location with a bomb. return to sender. They come, Shaflin goes down into MRPD and plants one down there. Department of Corrections serves as the, let's call it prisoner of war camp, but they also served as military combatants during the war with Sanguine. So interestingly, our primary suspect for the bombing happens to be current and former members of the Department of Corrections.
Really, it shouldn't be you who's disappointed, but me.
What was that?
Perhaps I should be the one who's disappointed then. You worked with me for 2 years. You were my mentor. Spent a lot of time on and off duty together as friends and as colleagues. I inform you of every step of the way. I get wrongfully fired, as you put it, or at least harshly treated. And I spent 5 months trying to come back to the PD. The first thing you think when I finally decide that it's not worth trying anymore is that you're disappointed it only took 2 weeks. And I haven't even done anything. You, like many, have the same opinion within the PD that just because I have a clean record just means I haven't been caught. Rather than the truth that I actually haven't done anything.
I hope that's true, Winston. Because I know you weren't completely honest with me about the timeline you just supplied. Because if I was your mentor and you paid attention to every step along the way, you know I don't ask a fucking question I don't know the answer to. And I knew the answer to them. Great deal of those questions that were answered contrary to what I know.
I'm sure you did. It doesn't mean that I know the answer, though. I genuinely am just forgetful, and you've known that for a while. What I did on a random day, I don't really know. Because I don't care to know. It's not information I need to know. I'm going to write down every step of what I do. I pay attention to things that seem like they matter. Things like, I don't know, Arthur Lionheart's relationship with Mayhem. And his friendship with, what's his name? Fraser Kensington? And his dog's name, Fenrir.
That's certainly another angle. All right. I'm going to terminate the recording at 9:12 p.m. Eastern Standard. That story about TJ.
Mm-hmm.
I left out the beginning of it. That story started when he showed up at Davis PD, shiny new walls. So me and the chief and Brian fucking Knight, who was always attached to Bass's asshole like a leech. We were using that office for LSPD purposes. We were interviewing people, and we had some correctional actions we needed to do. I forget what it was, but Aziz, who later became a trooper, Aziz had fucked up somehow. I think it actually was involving the BBMC, ironically. Something about, I remember something about somebody in the trunk. That's all that I recall. But TJ had scheduled a conversation with Bass that day. And when TJ showed up, Bass said, "I don't have time to talk right now. Come back later."
Yeah, I've been there.
Well, we've all been there with multiple, more than just Bass. Shit, I've done that to people because of
I did
how
that to
swamped my
Cleo
life is.
before she went missing.
TJ went storming off. He shouted, "I quit." At first, I was the only one who went after him because I liked TJ a lot back then. I recognized that he was going through some shit. He had a history with metamorphine. Apparently, somebody had started selling it to him after an injury. So I went after him. And me, him, and Brian talked briefly in the parking lot. And then Bass wandered off, and then Brian wandered off, and then it was just me and Terrence. And what Terrence told me was, "Bundy, if you see me out there, do what you've got to do, and don't hesitate, because I won't." And I asked him to never put me in that position, but I promised him that I would not hesitate.
I said the same thing to Flop.
So the only thing I'm going to ask you, Winston, is do not put me in that position. Because you know I will not fucking hesitate, okay?
I know. You threaten many people with that AWM all the time. I have no reservations that if you want to shoot somebody, you'll fucking do it.
It's funny because I do have reservations about that. Not hesitating doesn't mean that I'm going to murder somebody. Not hesitating means put in the position that TJ Walker put me in. I will pull the fucking trigger.
Sorry, I'm late, gentlemen.
You kind of missed the whole thing.
Yeah, we've had our moments.
Honestly, it's probably a good thing that I wasn't here because I wouldn't have contributed much.
Well,
Yeah,
I just had throat surgery, so that wasn't sounding too good.
You're sounding nice and boomy now, Jones.
Okay, good. You might have heard yourself a little bit.
No, we don't hear ourselves. But,
Dispatch helped me out. Don't worry.
Thank you.
You, Winston,
Mm-hmm.
take care of yourself, because you know it's funny. We do final 42s for cops who die. We never really do them for the ones that retire or get fired or anything like that. And I think the sentiment's kind of missing. But you find yourself in a hole and you need somebody to bring a ladder to you, fucking call me. And otherwise, we've got it from here, brother.
I've already climbed out of the hole. Well, they fired me, but I'm out.